best kept secrets travel.
So rolling on from the embarrassment of Morgan using TikTok as his main source of research in Scotland is once you've done your research and you really know where you want to go, you've got your time frame, your budget, your location, your goal. It's really where are you going to stay? And if you're in a if you're in a big group, that's when it gets a little bit harder, because some people, when you're looking at accommodation and transport, because transport's next as well, and it applies to both, is some people outright will have very strong opinions about where they won't stay, where they 100% want to stay, the vehicles they won't go in, the ones they 100% want to go in. And on top of this, the larger your group is, the harder it is. For example, let's use some hostel rooms. Most hostel rooms we've seen will either go up to 6 people, 8 people, 16, or about 24. Taxis, most taxis realistically overseas will take about 4.
The tuk-tuks I've seen with about 7 or 8.
And it depends obviously what your luggage,
pile them up.
Your luggage is as well.
Which is obviously quite a big thing when you are travelling, is like you have the big backpacks and the big bags. So
and there are a lot of taxis I haven't wanted to put my backpack in the boot.
Yeah.
And the larger group is all these things become harder. So when you're looking at accommodation, you might be looking at, let's say, hostels, but then you might have someone in the group who outright goes, oh, I don't ever want to stay in a hostel. And then you're looking at Airbnbs and hotels, and then suddenly your budget jumps up, and then your time frame might have to change, your location might have to change. So as much as we talk about these in stages, you'll have to constantly refer back to that budget and overall goal of what you really want to achieve on the trip, and
whether you want to go with that friend.
Exactly. And there might be times where you go, actually no, maybe
this trip's not
maybe
for them.
Instead of going with 8 people, we're just going to go as a 4, because we all want to do the exact same thing, and none of you 4 wants to do it, but they all want to go and do similar things.
Which isn't a bad thing. Quite often I plan trips, book flights, and then start asking people if they want to join, because quite often people struggle to commit to things.
Yeah, and we'll just say, oh yeah, it'll be great.
Yeah, it'll be a good idea, I'd love to do it. Or the most annoying thing is, I'd love to do that, yeah, but then nothing ever happens. So I just book the flights and then go, yeah, let's go. So
yeah, back to this accommodation. There are great ways of booking accommodation as well. We've got Hostel World,
Airbnb, couch surfing, lastminute.com.
Yeah, you can even use hotel.com.
Yeah.
And booking.com. These are the best ways of booking your trips. They're the ones that we use. And sometimes you'll just go and book them in person. South America, we book loads of our hostels just by turning up. And the massive benefit on that, another best kept secret, is that by booking in person, you will actually be saving this hostel
booking fees. And
quite often they will pass that directly on. We found even some of the hostels in South America are about half the price in person.
Unless they're fully booked, then it doesn't work.
Then it really doesn't work. But this is just, part of your deciding how much you want to plan your trip. But
well, it depends where you want to go, whether you're just going somewhere and you're staying in a random hostel, or you've been recommended this hostel and told that it's amazing and you have to go there. So then obviously it's probably better just to book in advance.
Or if it's pretty busy season and there's only 1 or 2 hostels in the whole area, we then do recommend you book in advance. But in Cusco, for example, in Peru, there's so many hostels. We did not need to book. Even at maximum capacity of Cusco, I'll be surprised if they filled up all the hostels with tourists, because there were just so many.
Yeah, but you want to stay in Wild Rover if you're in Cusco.
Yep.
It is
we're not going to explain why. You just look it up and that's it. Wild Rover.
It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
Lastly, on our accommodation is actually probably one of the most cost-effective, flexible routes of just doing any holiday, which is
sleeping on the floor.
Yes, it can be either camping or getting a camper van. The massive benefit of a camper van is you can drive where you want, you can sleep where you want, almost ish roughly.
Look up the rules in your local area
or country.
Oh yeah.
But a camper van is just definition of flexibility to us. It's what we use in Australia and New Zealand. It means that when you see the Greyhound buses in Australia, there's just one single route. You can never really go off it. Having the camper van meant, 50 miles more inland, there's this amazing thing where you really want to see it. And we could have only ever done that if we got a camper van or we paid an absolute fortune for someone to take us literally just there and back. And up there on the list on flexibility, you're limiting your group size quite a lot with this. But camper van's definitely up there.
Yeah, I think you could probably get 4 in a camper van, in a normal camper van that you'd get. You wouldn't really want many more than that.
No, I'd do 4 because you also want to...
4 would be max.
The second that your camper van starts going over a certain size as well, let's say you're getting a ferry between North and South Island and New Zealand, or your ferry fees go up, some of the accommodation sites will charge for a van of a certain length. There are lots of things which start to add on the second that you jump up the size of your vehicle.
Plus, the more people, the worse the van smells.
Yeah, but then your benefit is the more people you have, the lower your petrol costs on average.
Yeah, more cost effective because you just have to buy one camper van.
Exactly. Just start to do your cost benefit analysis, and then basically that fee just starts dropping.
Cost benefit analysis is very important.
Morgan's an accountant.
This is as you know, and we've said multiple times, this is our first episode of the podcast, and podcasts are really hard to grow. So we would be really grateful if you could tell your best friend, your worst enemy, just anyone and everyone who you think could be interested in this podcast and what we've been talking about. And one of our goals, or at least my goal for this season, is actually to see how many countries we can get listening to the podcast. Already, after the trailer, I think we have 5 or 6 countries.
Yeah, I think 6 countries.
6 countries. That obviously will be going up now, but...
I think it's not just that. I think if you have 50 friends or more on your Facebook alone or your Instagram, and you share this on there, and you can convince your friends to download it and follow us. If you get 100 of your friends to subscribe to us on YouTube,
that'll be a tree.
You guys plant a tree. We will plant that tree in the name of your 100 friends. If you get 50 of your friends to follow us on podcasts, you will also plant a tree.
Or you just follow us on multiple different podcast platforms.
And you will plant a lot of trees. My point is,
plant
together,
trees.
We can help you, and you can help the world. I don't know what that was.
Was that a question mark?
That was very much a question mark. You guys can help the world.
Question mark.
Yeah. Anyway, that's our little plug for the trees.